Hey, what are you doing here so early? I know, but it's not yet time for. I'm kidding. Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here. Welcome to yet a new chapter of One Punch Man. I was gone. The hair is gone. The clean cut fit is back, baby. My first fresh cut of 2025. Y'all know I couldn't come to y'all again with my hair looking like your garden variety Dollar Tree Brillo pad. I had to get rid of it. This is my smoothness. This is my genuine sexiness. I had to get my hair cut again. It's good to see you all. Good to see you, Shoto Todoroki. Good to see you, Ogata-san. And good to see you, Owl. A lot of things happened in the last chapter of One Punch Man. So, well, actually, hold on. Let me do this before my camera messes me all up today. I got like a full-on shave. I shaved my mustache. I shaved my beard off. Still keeping the little patch under my lip, though. I never shaved that off. But let me make sure my camera's good because whenever I flip-flop between game audio... Wait, hold on. Every time I flip between game audio and like visual cameras, it'll reset my settings, so I gotta make sure. Also make sure that there's no vocal delay. We are good. You fooled me thinking it was the trailer. I know, because this is the same shirt I'm wearing in the trailer, in the stream trailer that I've made. So I had a feeling, you know what? Since I'm wearing that shirt, might as well try and fool some people at the beginning. It's good to see you all. I knew I wasn't going to make it back in time to do it exactly at 1. And then when I set it to like 1:15, I was still like minutes away from the house. So I was like, you know what? 1:20 would be my best bet. Come inside, let the family see my new haircut. I still need to kind of taper off one edge because this one is kind of going slanted and this one is still a little bit pointed. So I got to fix that myself just a little. But overall, I'm so glad to have my head shaved again. Now I can look professional. Like I'm trying to be clean. Like, mind you, should be clean all the time, okay? Make sure you get your proper haircuts. Don't just let your hair grow all wild and you don't take care of it. That is not manly. That's lazy. But in the last chapter of One Punch Man, we got to see how Blast and Empty Void met each other. And... hold on, let me refresh Viz. Yeah, there we go. Whew, I was about to say, I hope there's a chapter out today. But in the last chapter of One Punch Man, we got to see the history of Empty Void and Blast. And Empty Void, while he was fighting his old monsterized pupil called his protege, whose name was Stain, he is suspicious of Blast and his power because as far as Empty Void knows, he's never seen anyone wield the type of power that Blast did back then. So he decides to keep close tabs on him because Blast has questions and he's wondering, does he know anything about Stain being monsterized? I need to watch him. So as they're traveling around, they get to know each other. Void and Blast get to know each other. And in the process, Void has his own sister, who was named Luna, Moonlight Luna, who is also a ninja. He tasked her with constantly watching Blast, which led to the both of them getting married, having a son, and, under the name Maya instead of Luna. And, Blast looks like he's just having the time of his life. Void is questioning whether these feelings that Blast is showing to him are genuine or not because he can't figure them out. He generally can't tell about Blast, but Blast seems to be genuinely enjoying this life that he has with his wife and his son. And Void is still suspicious because he's all like, I can't read him at all. Void cannot read genuine human interaction, like genuine emotion, because he just thinks everyone has an ulterior motive, but Blast is just living his best life with his wife and son. So things happen. Maya, Luna, she winds up dying. And Void is starting to question whether or not he's being paranoid as to Blast's feelings, because when Blast is there at the funeral, he's genuinely crying tears, and Void is kind of second-guessing himself. But while they are traveling inside of this old ancient temple, I know this is a bit of a little bit long recap, but I want to cover all my bases. They're going into this old-looking temple-like place, and while they're moving, a statue appears to fall towards Blast and Void, with the statue having a cube of God inside. And the moment it touches Void, it shows not only his still alive pupil, because Stain, he got his head cut off when he was a monster. So in this vision, Void sees not only his old pupil, his old protege Stain, but he also sees his sister again, saying like, with this, you don't need to worry about it anymore. We're here now and we have a far greater mission. And this is what appears to be what causes Void to go over to God's side in this story. Punch 209, the plan. And it has Saitama up here on the cover page in a Santa outfit or a Christmas outfit. He's got like a Santa hat on, and I'm guessing he has like the trademark Santa costume on as well, but he is still very bald. So now we're back here in this vision with Void and his sister and Stain. You have a lofty mission. As Void is looking at his sister, and mind you, their faces are kind of obscured by shadows here. They weren't in the last chapter, but they're just sort of obscured a little bit. The function of the shinobi, or more broadly, government, relies on the doubt and dissension of humankind. Oh wait, this is Luna saying this. The function of the shinobi, or more broadly, government, relies on the doubt and dissension of humankind. But if all consciousness were to fuse into one, then distrust and conflict would no longer exist, and neither would free will. We are executing an invaluable plan for achieving such a world. See, this is what Madara Uchiha thought he could achieve. By ridding the world of war and activating planned Project Tsukunomi, he thought he would be able to finally bring about peace. But in the process, it would rob every single person of their freedom, their hopes, their desires. They would just give everything that they are to be eternally caught up in an illusion. All for this plan. This is essentially it. Why is it? And you know what? Yuha thought the same thing. All this talk of life and death, this is not how the world used to be. I am going to rid the world, all three worlds, of these concepts. And then the ideal of life and death will cease to exist. No more death. The world will return back to where it came. And as it should be. Madara and Yuhabaha had the exact same ideals. And it didn't pan out the way they thought it would. But I'm sorry. But if all consciousness were to fuse into one... Sorry, I like talking about these chapters while I read, so you'll have to excuse me if I break it up with commentary. I'm legally supposed to do that. But... if all consciousness were to fuse into one, then distrust and conflict would no longer exist. We are executing an invaluable plan for achieving such a world. And Void is just looking. Elder brother, have you never questioned the prevalence of distrust and conflict? And Void goes, questioning and lofty ideals are unnecessary for shinobi. We merely analyze reality and choose the optimal solution. But reality includes this. And as she says this, she's holding up one of those cubes. And Void's eyes kind of widened. I wouldn't say widened, they just show the light coming from the both of them. As she goes, come and join us, elder brother. Make your choice. And as she's saying this, Void and Luna, not Void and Luna, but Stain and Luna, their clothes change from shinobi clothes into just regular white clothes. Make your choice. A world without distrust and conflict? Is such a world possible? And as it shows his hand reaching towards Luna, there's a flash, and then we cut back into the present, because now we see that Blast saw these memories. What we were witnessing is not just a backstory, it was literally the memories of Void that passed into Blast when he tried to fuse the both of them together. So we cut back to the present as we have Void and Blast right where they were after Void forcibly separated himself using the power of God's light. The two combatants glimpsed each other's memories. Was that Void's memory? Does teleportation have that effect? And then Void immediately tries to go in and hit Blast. Wait a minute. Did I miss something? Correct me if I'm wrong, but the chapter before we got the last chapter showed us a Blast who lost an arm. And here, did I miss something? Because Blast has his arm back on. His arm is back. Void is going to hit him, and that's the reason why I stopped. Void is going in to trying to kick him, but Blast blocks it using the arm that got cut off at the forearm. His arm is back. Is that a result of the fusing? I gotta look at the last chapter. Once I get done, I gotta look at the last chapter, make sure I didn't miss something, because his arm is back. His arm is back. This is after they fused. He specifically created a portal so he could hit both of his fists together, so he could teleport himself directly into Void so that they would fuse together. I didn't know that the end result would be him gaining his arm back. Did I miss that? But we'll talk about this once I'm done, because I'm not even, this is only pages 6 and 7. There's 18. We're not done. But he goes to kick Blast, and Blast immediately blocks it with his arm. Blast, did you know of my plot with my younger sister? Is that a surprise? He knew! Blast knew the whole time! He knew! Blast, did you know of my plot with my younger sister? Is that a surprise? And he immediately punches away Void like it was nothing. I can see right through lies, but I like strong people. And Maya was the same. That's all there was to it. Petty ruses and collusion are no particular problem. He literally just said, you could have schemed against me, but it wouldn't have mattered at all. It wouldn't have mattered at all. And then Void is just looking at him. Perhaps you have another reason for wanting to shut me up. And then Void's eyes start glowing completely. You're right. Leaving you alive is no longer an option. And then it shows Void charging up with energy, and the area just starts to get darker and darker until he launches himself at Blast at full speed. And then we get narration. Void had a secret, as it shows Void doing his best to try and beat up on Blast, but Blast is defending himself. During their encounter, absorbing the power leaking from Garo caused Void to return to himself, and he made a decision. He would pretend to still be under God's control, as he defeated the heroes and used the cube to increase the number of agents. In the end, he would exchange his life to divide among them all the God-defying power he had received from Garo. And it shows Void, I guess, surrounding himself with a whole bunch of heroes? And then what he would do was just basically end himself. So all that power he got from Garo would basically spread to everyone around him. In the end, he would exchange his life to divide among them all the god-defying power he had received from Garo, and have them defeat God. That was his plan. So Void is in his... Okay. So all of this is on purpose. All of this is on purpose. He wants his life to end. So that way, all the power from Cosmic Fear Garo would spread to everyone around him, so that they all can have the power to defy God and defeat him. That's his plan. So, and that's the end of the chapter. That's the end of the chapter. The end of the chapter is that Void's plan is pretend to be under God's control, use the cube to increase the number of agents, and then when he, ends his own life, that power would spread to all nearby people, so that they can have the power to defy God and thus defeat God. That's the plan. And it's not even about not making them monsters. It's about making them monsters that are just immune to God, period. So this means that this entire fight isn't even one where he's, wow, I've been looking at Void all wrong this whole time. The dude has the interests of basically everyone in mind. His plan is to allow himself to die eventually, so that the power he got from Garo would spread to everyone so they can defeat God. That's the whole thing. Okay, so wow. And then it said that he regained his sanity. Like, he regained himself by absorbing the power of Garo. And since Garo's very whole nature is that defies everybody else, because you can't tell Garo what to do. He has a very hard time being told what to do, even by Bang. So you have that nature of Garo in him that was so strong that it literally snapped Void out of his God-induced stupor. And this has been his plan all along, to collect these cubes, create more agents, and then give the power he got from Garo to them so they all can be able to defy God and thus defeat God. Wow. And I feel like he can't audibly say this because God would probably be listening and would thus try to, kill him. But wow, I've been looking at Void all wrong. Now, here's something that I need to go back to. See, 208 was the last chapter we were looking at, okay? It was the last chapter we were looking at. No, okay, we need to go back to the chapter 207. Chapter 207. We need to go to that one. Okay. I am not crazy. When they fuse, Blast's arm is in fact missing. It's missing. Teleported his blood and neurotransmissions between the severed ends of his arms to prepare for his last resort. And when they fuse, he's still missing his hand. And when they get forced apart, there is no I don't see any indicator that his arm gets healed again. So now the question is, how does Joker get his arm back? How did he get his arm back? And another question, how did Void get his swords back? Because the last time I checked, at the end of chapter 208, Saitama still had his blades in his hands. So Blast's arm is back to normal, and Void has both of his swords back again. Huh. That's interesting. I don't know if that's an error. Maybe someone forgot something, but Blast has his arm back again. So that's one thing. Void has his swords back, which means he would have had to have gotten them back from Saitama somehow. We got to see a little bit more of the flashback of Void. And it shows that he was in fact fooled by God, but it wasn't until he absorbed the power of Garo that he got snapped out of that brainwashing. And now he has this plan of giving everyone else the power around him so that way all those people can have the power to defy God and thus defeat God. So that's his plan. Wow, this fundamentally changes a lot of what I think of Void, but it still brings into question, if that was his plan, why go that extra mile to try and take out the Hero Association HQ and also try and kill Blast as much as he did? Not unless he's actually holding back. So I still got some questions, but given this chapter, now it's got me rethinking Void up until he showed up here. Because he was evil. So now my question is, seeing as how it says, let's see, during their encounter, absorbing the power leaking from Garo caused Void to return to himself, and he made a decision. So, back when he was still monsterized, all the way back when he took the power from Garo, he was already released from it as soon as he absorbed it. And he would defeat the heroes and use the cube to turn them into agents. In the end, he would exchange his life to divide among them all the god-defying power he had received from Garo. And when that power erupts from him, it would engulf everyone, and they would all gain the power to go and defy God together. While it shows his body basically evaporating in the process. But the way it shows it here, because the text has been in white, but here it says it's all in black now. I am curious about this. This is interesting. Huh. Also, let me refresh my page just to make sure that chat is updated. This is interesting. Okay. So, Void is technically a good guy. Huh. That's very interesting. And does it say we're getting another chapter? Does it say we're getting another chapter next week? No, it doesn't. This might be the last chapter we get for January. We gotta wait until we may have to wait until February to see where it goes from here. Okay, so Void is a little bit of an anti-hero then? Huh. I'm still thinking about that. We haven't gotten the new scan chapter. Okay, so that means that we're not getting a new. That means we're not getting a new chapter next week. Then, thanks, Ogata. Huh. This is an interesting chapter. This just changes how I view Void now. Now here's my thing. Here's my question. What is his motivation for doing all of this? Since his mind has been freed from the cube's influence, is his motivation so that no one else gets tempted like he did after seeing his sister and his former pupil, who are both dead, by the way? Did it Is that the motivation so that no one else falls for that either? Also, Blast knew that Luna, Maya, was sent there to spy on him, and he still enjoyed his life with her all the same. It also kind of helped that Maya Luna was into strong people, so Blast being strong was pretty much a match made in heaven for the both of them. So yeah, they both like strong people, so it was a perfect match for the both of them. So while she was there to spy on him, he didn't care. He knew, but he didn't care. And they had like a wonderful life together. It would be interesting to see a flashback as to their life while they were living, while she was still living, as a wife and a mom. It'd be interesting to see that, but I don't think it's necessary in this regard. But Blast was all like, no, ruses or collusions would be of any hold on, let me see here. What did he say? Let's see. Perhaps you have another reason for wanting to shut me up. Let's see. Right here. I can see right through lies, but I like strong people, and Maya was the same. That's all there was to it. So he knew, and he didn't care, but he liked strong people. And Maya liked strong people too, so they were good for each other. Petty ruses and collusion are no particular problem. He literally says, you could scheme all you want, but it doesn't matter to me because I'm just that strong. Perhaps you have another reason for wanting to shut me up. You're right, leaving you alive is no longer an option. And then he tries to blitz Blast, and Blast just continuously blocks him. But I'm curious about this plan, though. Like, what was going to happen? What did he think was going to happen when it gets to the end of it? What if there's... Now that we know... You'll have to excuse me, but finding out that Void's plan was to literally gather more agents and turn them over to the side, turn them over and get them monsterized, only for him to then release the power of Garo that he took out to them, which would then render them immune to being fooled by God again, and thus use them as agents to destroy God. That plan just came out of nowhere. And now we can no longer look at Void as just like a real big villain. He's secretly an anti-hero. You have to excuse me if I'm spending a little bit of time on this, because it's just... that was not something I saw coming for this chapter. I thought it was just going to be a villain. They beat him, and then they try to get him demonsterized. I didn't realize we were dealing with someone who was playing 4D chess against God. Yeah, we back. I saw it disconnected for a quick second. Yeah, had no idea that that Void was playing like 4D chess against God in this instance. So now I really want to know what happens in the next chapter. Now the question is if God knows or not. That's the thing. Because if you accept the power of God in this, is he able to read your mind? Because that would complicate things. If not, then that's actually an edge everyone who has been tempted by him has at their advantage. He won't be able to tell what they're thinking. So now, like I said, it just brings up a bunch of questions. A lot of questions. I'm not going to say I'm confused, but it just has me thinking, It just has me thinking. Huh. And I'm going to be thinking about this for a hot minute. Huh. This was an interesting chapter, leaving me with more questions than answers. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. This chapter just has me. I'm curious about the next chapter we get. I have never wondered this hard for a One Punch Man chapter. I wouldn't be surprised if he does know, like he senses it. I wouldn't be surprised either. We're going to have to see, though. Because the thing is, we haven't really seen too much present day interaction of God. We see being tempted when they touch the cubes, but we haven't seen any present day we haven't seen any present day interactions of God outside of the cubes. That's the thing. In the cubes, yes, we see a lot of temptation, a lot of eat from this tree and then you'll be as smart as God is. You'll know everything that he knows. You know, that sort of deception. But we haven't seen present day interactions of God in this for a very long time outside of the cubes. So I would be interested to see what happens if God actually decides to do something other than try and tempt people to join his side. So if he does know what Void is planning, this will greatly complicate things. If he doesn't, I want to know how much farther this is going to go. Frankly, all you need is Saitama. Let's be honest here. That's all you need. He has already demonstrated that he's multidimensional. He can deal with people who are outside of a dimension as if they're directly in front of him, like it's nothing at all. It's not the first time he's done something like that. Phoenix Man comes to mind against Child Emperor back then, but all you need is Saitama. That's all you need. And I brought this up back when God first appeared. I said, wouldn't it be, and I said this, I want to say maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, before God started to have a bigger presence within this story, that what if Saitama decided to fight God? A confrontation between Saitama and God is inevitable. And we grow closer to that. That's insane to me. This is a death battle to beat all death battles. Saitama, the most powerful character in all of One Punch Man, versus God. This is a canon event. It hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. Keep this in mind. This isn't a made-up battle scenario. This is something that is going to happen. Crazy dumb question. Is it possible Saitama got his powers from God? See, that's the big question of where Saitama got all of his strength from. Some people, and the story has said, Saitama says he got it from doing like 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100, what is it? Sit-ups, push-ups, 100 squat. What is it? Hold on. I forgot. Saitama workout routine. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats. I was right. And running 10 kilometers every single day with no breaks for 3 years is how he got his strength. That's what Saitama says. What is it? Dr. Geno? I think, what is his name? The House of Evolution. House of Evolution. Dr. Genus. Dr. Genus says that Saitama broke his limiter, and therefore the limits to what he can do is basically unlimited. And now that we have the figure of God in this story, when we had this figure of God in the story and how God is capable of granting people power, now it can bring up the assumption, like, what if God gave Saitama this power? But now you're throwing into the mix on this theory that if God gave Saitama this power, why hasn't he always been interested in this world? Why hasn't he always been here? Not only that, but how come Saitama has never We've never seen Saitama interact with like one of these cubes. As far as we know, we've never seen him interact with these cubes. God has never spoken to him telepathically because he did that to, well, it never spoke to him because he did that to Homeless Emperor before he ripped that power from his body. And how come Saitama never monsterized? So it brings up a lot of questions that if Saitama did get his powers from God, then how come the interaction between the two hasn't happened at all? Plus, I feel like for me, myself, honestly, I don't want to get behind the idea that Saitama got his powers from someone else. Because I want to be behind the idea that Saitama is just that strong. He is so strong that he defies convention. He defies the supernatural. He defies every sort of law of physics and reality that not even God in this story can match up to that strength. Literally defeats everything in one punch Saitama. I prefer to think of Saitama as just strong because he is basically he just is, rather than his powers being gained from some outside source. Because if that was the case, then that would mean that anybody could just reach the strength of Saitama. And mind you, Cosmic Garo existed, but he still was never as strong as Saitama, who fought him one-handed. So I don't know if I particularly like the idea of potentially Saitama's powers coming from an outside source. But that's just me. Because I remember the chapter when he had hair and him wanting to save someone. True. But I don't think Saitama is the type of individual that will take a quick and easy way to power. I don't think he's the type of individual that would take a handout from someone to gain power. I think he's this type of individual that will work hard for it. That's the reason why he did those 3 years of training. But I feel like if it was Saitama, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't accept an offer from God because it would be too much of a handout. Sure, he doesn't mind like good deals at the grocery store, but when it comes to handouts to strength, Saitama knows how strong he is, and therefore he's not. I just don't know if I can get behind that idea of his powers coming from an outside source. Because this has been something that many people have wondered. Just where did Saitama get his strength from? He says his own workout routine for 3 years is where he got it from. Dr. Gina says well, he broke his limiter somehow, and now he's just infinitely strong. But I honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I can get behind that idea. Because remember when Blast was saying, well, God has been moving a lot more throughout these dimensions because something appears to be drawing him here. So I don't know if I can get behind that idea, though. That's just me. It's an interesting one, but I don't know if I like that idea. But I'm droning on. I'm droning on for way too long, and I got other things that I need to do today. But We'll talk about this more. We'll definitely talk about this more. Other than that, this was a very interesting chapter, and it's making me think of what else. It's making me think of the next chapter that we'll get. Hopefully sometime in February. No way of telling. I'll continuously check back every Wednesday just to make sure that I'm up to date. We're going to have to see where this story goes. But mark my words, a fight between Saitama and God is coming. And I'm going to be honest, you see characters fight endgame bosses in manga and anime. No worries to me. It seems too easily an explanation, but I was just thinking, oh yeah, you're fine, Ogata. I'm just like, it's too easy of an explanation. Oh, Saitama, he's that strong because God gave him that power. It's too easy. It's too easy. I think the mystery that comes from Saitama's strength is the fact that we don't know it all. And the more we see him doing stuff that is just plain ridiculous with that strength, it just makes you wonder even more, what did he do for him to be so strong he's capable of defying laws of physics and reality, being able to time travel, which is something that he hasn't messed with ever since he got back into the new timeline that we set in right now. The dude has basically just consciously learned how to time travel. And that's not actually a power that he has. He just learned it. That's just something that he knew how to do. Not only that, but he's capable of moving faster than someone who can teleport instantaneously to another spot. Being able to catch someone inside of their very own portal without them knowing. Saitama defies explanation. And I think that's the best way to describe explanation. He's just strong. How strong is Saitama? He just is. It defies explanation. That is the best way to describe it. But I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. This was a very interesting chapter. Looking forward to the next one, but I'm going to be thinking about this one for a long time. As far as like Empty Void's plan goes, because I'm wondering, how is this going to pan out? And if God is going to show up to try and intervene because of what Void is doing. It remains to be seen, but it should be interesting. Because the last time someone who was tempted by God failed, Homeless Emperor got the soul literally just ripped from his body and his whole body just imploded from having all of that power taken from him. So we'll see. But to everyone right here, right now, from Ogata to Owl to everyone else, this was a very interesting chapter of One Punch Man, and I look forward to discussing more One Punch Man with all of you later. Take care and great discussion. I know, I love talking about manga stuff with you guys. I love it. I love it. Love these conversations we have, but I'm done for today. Got some other stuff to do and prepare. Great first 2025 stream for you. Oh, wait. Is this the first stream you've tuned into all year so far, Ogata? I thought you were in some other ones. Were you not in some other streams I had? So far, it's been 22 days in January. Is this the first stream you've caught of me this year? I was sure you were in some other streams. I was sure that I saw you. Well, if this was your first 2025 stream for you of me, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Nah, I don't think so. I've been busy time-wise. I gotcha. I understand. Hey, I'm glad I was able to give you a good first stream for this year for you with a fresh cut of hair. So I gotta let everybody. I'll tell everyone else will know when the next time they see me. But overall, I really do hope you. Hope you all enjoyed, because I will continue to drone on for longer. So I apologize. I do that a lot. But to everyone, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!